The third thing was, and we're famous for it now, but back then the international diversity was already happening. And I saw people of races and nationalities that in Alexandria, Virginia, I had never seen before. And that was pretty significant too. That stays with me. Yeah.
So there were no dorms at that time. So where did you live?
Well, we call them residence halls because dorms are where you sleep, and we don't want students going back and sleeping. We want them to go to their residence hall and live and study and do things. Mm-hmm. That's why they're not just bedrooms. It's the center of your life. We didn't even have them. We had nothing there. We didn't have, once a year you could camp out, and that was about it. The residence halls came in 79, I think. I got out in 77. I lived in an apartment in Annandale, Virginia, about probably 6 miles away. Didn't take very long to get here. Back in those days, Braddock Road, if you're familiar with that, was 2 lanes, mostly through forest. And it was easy to get back and forth. Nowadays, it is a nightmare. Luckily, I don't have to do that anymore, and neither do the people that live on campus. I think we have 6,500 now. Back in those days, it was 0. Everybody lived off-campus housing. So we heard rumors that they were going to open dorms, but by then, for me, it was too late, and I said, well, that's great, good.
So you played soccer for George Mason, as you
I
can
did.
tell
Yeah.
by your Letterman jacket.
This is my 4-year Letterman jacket. Got it my first year, and it was my winter coat for 4 years, pretty much. And yeah, I played soccer with the scholarship. Played under 3 coaches. We had a very successful program the first 2 years. My sophomore year, we went to the, actually it was my freshman year, 1974. Nope, if it's 74, it was my sophomore year. We went to the NAIA Hall of Fame tournament, which was sort of the Final Four for NAIA. We weren't NCAA then. And that was in St. Louis, Missouri. And the first time ever I got on a jet airplane was to fly to St. Louis with 22 of my best friends to spend a 4-day weekend in St. Louis playing soccer, which was another one of those things that changes your life. And you think, man, I love college, I love athletics, and I discovered I like flying in airplanes.
Can you explain the pins on the U on your jacket?
Well, yeah, there's soccer balls. Mm-hmm. So you get one jacket.
Right.
For your Letterman, and then you get a pin for each year after. They're not going to give you a $200 jacket 4 times, nor would you need one, right? And I only have 3 pins. Sadly, in the last, 42 years, some pin has rusted off, or I may have given it to someone as a keepsake. I can't remember, but it's something I would have done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So you played soccer, but you also wrote for the Broadside as the sports and entertainment writer.
I did, yes. Funny story, working for the Broadside, we didn't have a soccer correspondent, and since I knew all the editors, the sports editor, the editor-in-chief and all that, I said, well, I'm going to be at the game, at Old Dominion, why don't I do a recap? And they said, hey, that'd be great. So I would actually do reports on the games that I played in, which was hilarious because I never missed a goal. We always had a good time.
So how did you get that job?
Student media in the early days, a little bit different than it is now. Not really, though, because really all you have to do to work in student media is to express an interest. And they'll give you the training and help you out because they want to encourage it. It's part of the immersive college experience. Do as much as you can that you think interests you. Back in those days, what I would do is, here's how it happened for me. I was turning the pages of the Broadside, and that's what we called the Fourth Estate back in those days until a few years ago. It was Broadside. I noticed that they did movie reviews. Well, as it happened, I was doing movie reviews for my high school newspaper, which was a quarterly. It was Xeroxed or mimeographed and handed out to everybody. It wasn't much, but it made me really happy to do that. And I thought, well, I've done movie reviews before. I wonder if I can do it for these guys. So that night I saw a movie, Shaft's big score, and wrote about probably 250 words describing it, whether it was good or bad, who was in it, what happens. Typed it on that manual typewriter that I had, and dropped it off in a wire basket at the Broadside office, which was in the, which is now called Sub 1. Back then it was the Student Union building because it was the only one we had. And the next Monday I was turning the pages of Broadside, and there was my movie review with my name on it. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool, so I did it again. And I did it again and again, and next thing you know, I was kind of an essential columnist for the paper. And I ended up, my last 2 years I was entertainment editor, and sort of a general columnist, just kind of remarking on campus life and things in general. Always have an opinion and not afraid to share it.
So in addition, as you mentioned, to the sports coverage and movie reviews, you also wrote some satirical articles based on happenings at Basin. So how did you develop that satirical writing style, and did you take any particular English courses to help you improve on those skills?
Well, I did, I did comedy columns. They were farces. They were just completely made up drivel based on a current event on campus or off campus. And it was just a way to capture my inner Woody Allen, if you will. Back in those days, nonsensical farce was kind of a big thing. It is now, but it's called reality television. But back in those days, the movies of Woody Allen, where it was in the movie Airplane, that sort of nonsense was really big, and you couldn't resist. I mean, I had a format and a forum to try it out, and somebody liked it because they printed it, and I don't know if any of it is funny at all right now, but back in those days it seemed to tickle people.
I read some. I thought it was good.
You think is that right? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you think of one? Just give me the topic and I'll tell you.
The one about Dr. Dykstra leaving, where you go and talk to the cockroach in his office.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
really good. I like that one.
Dr. Dykstra. Wow, what do you know? I tackled that, did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
man.
really good.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. That's
problem.
funny.
If you ever want to look at it, we have it in special collections.
Oh, I know. You guys have them all. When I first got hired, I went and turned the pages of most of them to find that first byline, and just to refresh my memory on things. And it was, I'd still be sitting there now because it's so fun to plunge back into the past. And, yeah.
So what was the work environment like at Broadside?
Boy, very collaborative. I stayed out of the production end, so I wasn't there on the Sundays when they were laying it out. And in those days, we didn't have, we couldn't put, we didn't do it on Macs. We did what's called cold type. It got waxed onto big broadsheets, and then somebody took those to a printer and had them turned into actual newspapers. But the Broadside office itself was kind of a fun place to hang out, mainly because in the old days, in between classes, there were no other places to hang out. We didn't have the Johnson Center, we didn't have lounges, we didn't have anything. You either sat in the hallway outside the door waiting for the previous class to finish, then you could go in, or you found a nice safe haven like we had at the Broadside, and we would experiment with photographs, we would kick around ideas, and do your column. You know, it was kind of fun, but nothing really formal. Nobody had attitudes. People really didn't brandish titles or anything. It was fun.